You are listening to Smart Women's Dating Podcast, episode number 10. Welcome to Smart Women's Dating Podcast. I am your host, certified life coach Lærke Nielsen, and I help smart, independent women attract the love they deeply desire without having to chase or settle. This podcast will give you the mindset tools and insights you need to finally crack the code to your love life. Are you ready? Then let's go! Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you are all well and loving life, nothing less, enjoying life and everything it has to offer. Which leads me to, how do you react when a man wants to give to you? If he offers you a compliment, do you tend to downplay the thing you were complimented for and say, for instance, "Oh, it's nothing, it's just something I got on sales," or "The shoes don't really match"? And what if he wants to pay for dinner? Do you try to prevent him from doing that, or immediately think of ways that you can pay him back because you think that you owe him something now? Or do you worry that he's going to expect you to give him something in return and that there are strings attached? Or that if you just receive it without insisting on splitting the bill, then he will think you're cheap? Do you tend to go into people-pleasing mode the second he offers you something? And what if he offers to help you with something? Are you open to receive it, or do you instantly say, "No thanks, I've got this, I can take care of this myself"? This episode is about the energetics of receiving and why it's important that you allow yourself to receive and get comfortable believing that you are worthy of receiving with no strings attached if you want to attract a man who is willing to invest his time, attention, and feelings in you. So first of all, let's get clear on what I mean by being open to receive. Being open to receive means receiving what he wants to offer to you, whether that is compliments or support or his help, his advice, or maybe it's presents. It could be flowers, or it could be paying for dates. And being open to receive is difficult for most high-achieving, strong, independent women. And why is that? We are conditioned to be on top of things and take care of everything ourselves, and this is how we've achieved a lot of things in life, by not depending on others. And we also take pride in being able to take care of things ourselves and not needing anything from other people, especially not a man. And as women, we are also socialized to believe that we should always give a little bit more than we receive, and that it's morally good to give. And as a modern woman, we want to be equal with men, so this means that we want to pay back, we want to give back what we receive, or ideally make sure that we give a little bit more so there is no doubt. We think we need to do something to really deserve receiving. So if we think we didn't do anything of importance, we can't allow ourselves to just receive without instantly thinking about what to give back. And if we struggle with something, instead of asking for help or accepting the help that might be offered to us, we always choose to fix it ourselves, not burden anyone else with it. And what we might not realize is that giving in some situations can feel like taking control, especially if we decide when, how, and what to give. By giving, we make a statement about our own power, and in some ways we ensure that the other person owes us something and not the other way around. And likewise, receiving can feel like letting go of control. And most of us strong, independent women, we like having this feeling of control because it makes us feel more safe. No one can claim that we owe the man something, and we're also taking charge when we decide to be in the giving position. If this resonates with you, it's only because you're not fully aligned with the idea that you are worthy of receiving whatever he wants to give to you, and there is no strings attached. That you do not have to give anything back or return his favor, and you can just say thank you and appreciate his act. So I personally always had problems receiving, and I have even fallen into the trap of overgiving in the past. In several of my past relationships, for instance, I was the one who paid the rent, and to me it seemed logical, as I was the one who made the most money, and it was me who suggested it was never them. And it felt perfectly okay and innocent at the moment, but looking back, I realized how this shifted the balance between us, this messed up the polarity. I also always find it super challenging when a man wanted to help me with something, because I'm someone who did a lot on my own, and I renovated several apartments. I built shelves and tables, and I even built a kitchen once. So you can imagine, after having carried heavy wooden plates up to the 5th floor, then having a man offer me to carry a small bag of tea, that just felt ridiculous. I felt almost offended when someone wanted to hold the door or pull out a chair for me, because my brain told me that this meant they saw me as a helpless person and they didn't give me the credit of being able to do things on my own. So for many years, I didn't like this kind of gentleman gestures. To me, it just seemed ridiculous. I didn't understand the symbolic meaning of these gestures, and I also didn't understand the value of being open to receive small and symbolic acts of kindness. So I would say that I'm still work in progress when it comes to receiving, and my partner is very generous and also always offers to carry things like if we're traveling or if I have an extra bag. And I still have to remind myself that it's okay and to allow him to do the things that he offers. But I have become so much better at this. So what does it look like when we're not open to receive, and why is it a problem? We can imagine several different scenarios when you're not open to receive. And the first one is if you're just not open at all to receive and you decline what he is offering you. You say no thanks if he's offering you his help or support, or he wants to pay for coffee or drinks or dinner, for instance. That means that energetically you are rejecting the man. We think it's nice and polite to do that, but in reality, if he offers you something and you say no, you are rejecting him energetically. And an exception of this is, of course, if he offers something that is crossing your boundaries. And I refer back to episode 8 about people-pleasing and boundaries. Like if he offers you a weekend trip and you only just met, you are allowed to say no to his suggestion. This is not the situations I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here are the situations where you don't have a boundary issue and it's actually okay to receive what he offers, but you feel it's more polite to decline it, and you don't believe that you can receive it without strings attached or feeling that you owe him. The second scenario is where you accept what he offers, but then immediately think of how you can pay him back. Now, this is totally me, and I did that a lot, and I even verbalized it. If a man offered to pay, I would say something like, okay, but then I'll pay next time, for instance. And then I would sometimes look for ways I could offer more than what I received. And when we do that, we get ourselves into a competitive energy, which is never good for building attraction and polarity. Imagine you offered a present to a friend, and you really want to give her this present. You thought about how it's just perfect for her, and it relates to something you talked about, for instance. It makes you feel good to give her that present and see how happy she is for your initiative. But then how does it feel if she either says, no, it's too much, I can't accept it, or if she immediately thinks of something she can give you back, and the next time you see her, she has a present for you? This could make you think that she misunderstood the idea of you giving her something, almost as if she thinks you gave her the present in order to get something back, like it wasn't just a present but an exchange of value. And when you think of it, a present, it's in its nature something you give without conditions. You don't do it to give something back, because then it wouldn't be a present, it would be an exchange. But we think it's the only polite way to respond, by giving something back with the same or higher value. And that makes us less open to receive, because then we will be in debt with the other person, and most people just don't like being in debt. So the third way you can be not open to receive is when you go all the way into the opposite extreme of receiving, which is overgiving. This is where we offer our support and help all the time, take care of him, help him out financially, pay for things that we do together, or maybe even borrowing him money. And I have to be honest with you here, overgiving is killing the attraction. Overgiving to a man is mothering him. And he might feel appreciative of it in the moment, he might be grateful and tell you that it's really nice of you, but it's not making him feel more attracted to you. This is one of the things that can really kill the passion between you. So what are then the consequences of not being open to receive? When you are not okay receiving, you will unconsciously push away a man who is generous and wants to give to you. And we're not only talking about paying for dates or telling you how pretty you look, but generosity in general. Someone who wants to give you his time and attention. You are energetically blocking yourself from receiving from him, receiving his love, affection, and time. And it can create disconnection when you don't want to receive something that he wants to offer to you. It's like saying no to all of his suggestions. But the biggest problem with not being open to receive or feeling uncomfortable receiving is that you unconsciously attract more men who are not generous into your life. When you believe that if a man offers you nothing, then you are safe, you don't have to worry about paying him back or owing him something, then you are just more comfortable with men that are not ready or willing to invest in you, whether it's with compliments or time or attention or paying for a date. So you will attract men that expect you to be the giver and themselves to receive. And if this is not what you want, you will have to take a look at why you're not comfortable receiving with no strings attached. Also, if he wants to help you with something and you don't let him, you are depriving him of the possibility of being there for you, showing you that you matter to him, letting him play an important role in your life. And so it might be that what he wants to help you with is something that you know for sure you will do better on your own. But then what you want to do is redirect him to something else you can imagine him doing, or just giving you his advice or opinion about something. So how do you shift this pattern, and what does it look like to be open to receive? First of all, you want to remind yourself that you are of course worthy of receiving what a man on his own initiative wants to give to you. Whether that is compliments, flowers, paying for a date, or offering you support. And then think of how great it makes him feel when you accept and show him appreciation. Like when you offer a present to someone, we like to see the joy in the receiver's eyes. So say thank you. Don't downplay compliments. Don't push away an offer to support. Show him appreciation instead. Let yourself be open to what he wants to send in your direction and think of it as an energetic thing. You are energetically opening up to his love. So I also want to say a few words about what being open to receive does not look like, because it does not mean that you should feel entitled to or expect him to pay all the time or give you flowers or presents, for instance. It only means that you are open to receive what he wants to offer to you. And you can even let him know that you're willing to split the bill on a restaurant, for instance. But if he then says, "I've got this," then let him take care of it and receive with joy and appreciation. So now you might ask yourself, when is it okay to give to a man then? And can I even give something to a man? Of course you can give to a man, but you want to be careful not to overgive. Don't offer him a trip to the Bahamas just because he paid for dinner. And be clear on your reasons for giving, and this is where you want to get really honest with yourself. Are you giving because you think you owe him? Or are you giving because you want a certain reaction from him? Or are you really giving 100% without any conditions and just because you feel like doing that and you don't expect anything in return? Because in that case it's okay to give, but you want to make sure it's in a balanced way. So I hope this was useful to you, and I want you to start thinking of receiving as an energetic act, and remember how great it feels to you when you give someone a gift and they receive with joy. You are worthy of whatever a man wants to offer to you, and there are no strings attached. You do not have to pay back or do favors in return. You are not smaller than him because he offers and you receive. You are not less competent financially because he pays and you receive. And you are not less capable for accepting his help or support. You are just open energetically to receive what he wishes to give to you. Before I hop up for this week, I just want to remind you that there is a free resource you can get by signing up on the link in my show notes. It's a guide or a booklet of 27 pages, so it's not just a cheat sheet or a flyer. This is something that has real content, and it explains the principles of polarity and feminine masculine energy. And it points you to 5 shifts that you can make in your dating life, and that will, if you only make these 5 but you commit to do it, it will change who you attract and how you date. So go to the link in the show notes and sign up, and you will receive it in your email. And be sure to check your spam filter if you don't receive anything, and if it's there, then mark it not spam, because otherwise you won't get the other things I share. When you sign up for this booklet, you are automatically in my community, and that means you will get all the free resources I create, the invitations to workshops and webinars, and the special offers that I make only to people on my email list. And of course, you can unsubscribe anytime you want. If you are not sure what the show notes are, it is the little text that you will find below the episode that describes the episode in whatever platform you use to listen to the podcast. And if you can't find this link, then go to my website, lærkethelovecoach.com, LAERKE, and here you will find a link to this feminine energy guide, and it's basically just called Get the Guide. So it should be easy to find. It's an offer to you if you want to learn a little bit more about feminine energy and get some inspiration on how you can implement this in your own dating life. If you like what you're hearing on this podcast and you want to get support from a coach on your love journey, I invite you to book a free consult call with me. You will find the link in the show notes. And also, don't forget to subscribe, and I would love it if you would rate and review this podcast, and then you'll also help other women find it.